Vera Holt is 28 years
Did you
old.
review the file?
13 years
Let me
ago,
know.
on a stormy October night, her father looked her in the eye and said, "Get out. I don't need a sick daughter like you." She was 15, soaking wet, with nowhere to go. The reason? Her younger sister told a lie. A calculated, deliberate lie that their
We've
parents
looked at all the
believed without
options,
question.
and there's
And
no
just
easy
like
way to say
that,
this.
Vera was erased. 3 hours later, police called her parents to the hospital.
Incoming!
She'd been hit by a
Direct to
car.
trauma.
When her father walked into that room and saw who was sitting by
Tell
her
me what
bed,
happened.
his hands wouldn't stop shaking. You can't be here. How did you? The woman sitting there was Dr. Margaret Chen, Dean of Graduate Studies at the State University. She'd found Vera on the side of the road and saved her life. That night changed everything. Last month, Vera stood on stage at her sister's graduation ceremony as the keynote speaker. Her parents had no
Congratulations,
idea she was
graduates.
coming.
You did it.
Before we get to that hospital room and everything that came after, if this is the kind of story you want more of, tap the hype button on your screen. It's a small
Mom,
tap,
Dad,
but it
I
genuinely
won!
tells the
Look, I
app
got
to put
first
stories
place.
like Vera's in front of more people who need them. Now, back to where it started.
Look at what I won
Vera
today,
learned
Mommy.
early that in
I
the
am
Holt
so
house,
proud of you.
Delaney's tears were louder than her achievements. When Vera was 11, she won first place at the Regional Science Fair, a project on water filtration systems, beating out 40 other students. She ran home with the blue ribbon clutched in her hand, burst through the door, found her mother in the kitchen. "I won!" she shouted. Renee smiled, hugged her. "That's wonderful, sweetheart."
It's okay, I'm right
Then
here.
Delaney walked in from
I've got
dance
you.
practice, 8 years old, face red, tears streaming. "I messed up my pirouette. Everyone laughed at me." Their mother's arms left Vera. She knelt down, pulled Delaney close. "Oh, baby, it's okay. You'll do better next time." Vera stood there holding her ribbon. Nobody asked to see it. The pattern repeated itself the following spring, when Vera made the honor roll for the 3rd straight semester, and their father, home from a council budget session, glanced at the certificate on the table and said, "That's nice, Vera," before turning back to Delaney's spelling test, which she'd scored a B- on and cried about for 20 minutes at dinner. That was the pattern. Delaney needed more attention. Delaney was sensitive. Delaney required careful handling. Vera learned to celebrate quietly, to need less, to take up less space. By 14, she'd stopped showing her parents her report cards. Straight A's didn't compete with Delaney's B- drama. When she got accepted into a prestigious summer science camp, full scholarship, 2 weeks studying environmental science with actual researchers, her father looked up from his phone. "That's nice, Vera." Delaney burst into tears. "Why does she get to go away? That's not fair." Their mother squeezed Delaney's shoulder. "Vera, maybe you could skip it this year. Your sister needs—" "I need you here," Delaney finished. Vera didn't go to the camp. They called it family unity, being understanding, being the bigger person. She learned to be small, quiet, undemanding, but the breaking point was coming. She just didn't know it would arrive in a storm. The lying started small. Delaney, 12 now, would borrow Vera's things without asking. When Vera mentioned it, gently, always gently, Delaney would deny it. "I never touched your sweater," even when it was on her bed. Their mother would sigh. "Vera, don't start fights." Then money went missing from their mother's wallet. $50. Delaney said she saw Vera near the purse that morning. Vera hadn't been. She'd left for school early. Her father called her into his study, the same study where he practiced his council speeches in front of the mirror on the back of the door. "Did you take money from your mother?" "No, I didn't." "Delaney says you did." "Delaney's lying." His jaw tightened. "Don't accuse your sister." "But I didn't." "Enough." His voice cut through hers. "I'm disappointed in you, Vera. I thought you were better than this." Vera lost her phone for a month, and the science camp opportunity promised for the next summer vanished. "We can't trust you with independence right now," her mother said. Delaney watched from the stairs. When their parents weren't looking, she smiled. That stolen $50 was a test run. Delaney was learning she could get away with anything. The pattern escalated. A broken vase, Vera's fault. A failed test Delaney hadn't studied for, Vera should have helped. A rumor at school about Delaney cheating on a quiz, Vera must have started it. Vera stopped defending herself. What was the point? They believed Delaney's tears over her truth every single time. By 15, Vera felt like a ghost in her own house, present but invisible, there unless they needed someone to blame. She started spending more time at the library, at school, anywhere but home. Just survive until college, she told herself. 2 more years. She was wrong. October, junior year. There was a boy at school named Ethan. AP chemistry, nice, terrible at balancing equations. He'd asked Vera for help a few times. She'd stayed after class to walk him through stoichiometry. That was it. Homework help. Delaney had a crush on him. Massive, obsessive. Practiced writing his last name after hers in her diary. Vera had seen it once, returning a borrowed pen. Tuesday, Ethan caught Vera at her locker. Hey, thanks for the help yesterday. Maybe we could study together for the midterm. Sure, library works. He walked away. Vera turned and saw Delaney 20 feet down the hall, staring, face pale. That night at dinner, Delaney barely spoke. By Thursday, she wasn't talking to Vera at all, wouldn't even look at her. Vera should have known. Silence from Delaney was more dangerous than her tears. That Friday, a storm warning went out, a big one. Everyone was battening down. Vera thought, at least I'll have the weekend to catch up on homework in peace. She had no idea what Delaney was planning or how carefully she'd been planning it. Delaney had spent Wednesday afternoon in the school computer lab, supposedly finishing a communications assignment, actually logged into an account she'd set up days earlier, one that would matter more than anyone realized until years later. Friday night. Rain started around 6. They ate dinner in near silence, the weather alert buzzing on her father's phone. After dinner, Vera went to her room, started her English homework. Around 8, she heard crying downstairs. Delaney, loud, heaving sobs. Her mother's voice, soothing, then her father's, sharp. Vera, get down here now. Delaney was on the couch, face buried in their mother's shoulder. Their father stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, face red. What's going on? Vera asked. Delaney looked up, eyes swollen, and for less than a second, Vera saw something else behind the tears. Something cold. Then it was gone. Tell her what you told us, her father said, his voice ice. Delaney's lip trembled. Why do you hate me so much? What? I don't hate you. Then why have you been spreading rumors about me at school? Vera's mind went blank. Delaney pulled out her phone, hands trembling, showed their mother a screenshot. A group chat, messages supposedly sent from Vera's account, vicious things she would never say. Her name, her profile picture, right there. I didn't write those, Vera said. Someone's using my account. Just stop lying, her father said. And Ethan, Delaney whispered, you knew I liked him. You've been flirting with him, trying to make me look stupid. He asked me for help with chemistry, that's all. You've been staying after class with him, meeting him at the library. Delaney stood. And last week you pushed me on the stairs. She pulled up her sleeve. A bruise, dark purple. I never touched you. You did. Delaney's eyes went wide, fresh tears. You think I'd hurt myself just to frame you? Yes, Vera was shouting now, desperate. Yes, because you do this. You lie. You've been lying about me for years. Her father took a step toward her. Is this true, Vera? You've been bullying your sister? No. God, no. Please, just listen. I've heard enough. His fist slammed the mantel. Vera turned to her mother, begging silently. Say something. Stop him. Her mother turned away, kept her arm around Delaney. You're lying, Vera said, barely a whisper, looking at her sister. I'm not, Delaney said, and her voice didn't shake. I don't want to hear another word from you, her father said, flat. You're sick. Something's wrong with you. You need help, professional help. But right now, he pointed to the door, right now, I need you out of my sight. Dad, it's storming. I don't care. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem. His face twisted. Get out. I don't need a sick daughter like you in this house. Vera grabbed her jacket, hands shaking so hard she could barely zip it. The door slammed behind her. Through the window, she could see Delaney watching her leave. Not crying anymore, smiling. The rain hit like a wall. Within seconds, Vera was soaked through. She stood on the porch a moment, waiting. Maybe her father would come after her, apologize. The door stayed closed. She started walking, nowhere to go. Her phone was at 8%. She tried her friend Naomi. No answer. Tessa, straight to voicemail. It was Friday night. Everyone was home, safe, dry. Not her. The library was closed, dark windows, locked doors. The bus station was 2 miles away. She walked, shoes soaked through, teeth chattering, thunder cracking overhead. She thought about turning back, but the look on her father's face, the disgust, she couldn't unsee it. She didn't see the headlights until it was almost too late. Crossing an intersection, light green. She was sure it was green, but the rain was coming down in sheets and she couldn't see clearly. The car came out of nowhere. She tried to jump back, wasn't fast enough. The impact threw her sideways. Her body hit the hood, then the pavement. Her head cracked against the asphalt. Pain exploded, white hot. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Rain poured into her mouth, her eyes. Everything sideways, wrong. A car door slammed. Footsteps running, splashing. Oh my God. Sweetheart, can you hear me? A woman's voice, panicked, then steadying. Don't move, just stay still. I'm calling 911. Hands on her shoulder, gentle. Stay with me. What's your name? Vera blinked, tried to focus. A blurred face, dark hair, rain streaming down. My parents? She managed, voice barely a whisper. Okay, what's their number? I'll call them. They don't, she coughed, tasted blood. They don't want me. What? They kicked me out. The woman's face changed. Something shifted. Recognition, maybe, or horror. You're going to be okay, she said, though her voice shook. I promise. Sirens. Closer. The woman's face was the last thing Vera saw before everything went black. Vera doesn't remember the ambulance, the arrival at the hospital. Her first clear memory is sound. Beeping machines, fluorescent lights, antiseptic, and a voice. The woman from the accident. She has a severe concussion, possible internal bleeding. You need to keep her for observation. I'm staying. The same voice, firm now, not panicked. I'm not leaving her alone. Ma'am, are you family? I'm the one who hit her with my car. I'm staying until her parents arrive. Time passed. Voices came and went. Then new voices, familiar ones. We're Vera Holt's parents. Her father, strained. Mr. and Mrs. Holt. The woman's voice again, cold now, professional. I'm Dr. Margaret Chen. A pause, recognition clicking. You're the Dean of Graduate Studies. I am. Her tone could cut glass. I'm also the one who hit your daughter with my car tonight. It was an accident, her father said quickly. We don't blame. She ran across the road in the middle of a storm. She was soaking wet, alone at night. Dr. Chen's voice rose. She was 15 years old. Why was she out there? Silence. Mr. Holt, I asked you a question. We had a family situation, a discipline issue. What kind of discipline issue involves putting a child out in a storm? We didn't. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Because your daughter told me something before she lost consciousness. She said her parents didn't want her anymore. She said you told her she was sick. You're lying. Delaney's voice, small, scared. Vera's making that up. She was barely conscious. She wasn't making anything up. Footsteps, walking away from the bed. Now I need to speak with a social worker. That won't be necessary, her father, trying to sound authoritative, failing. We're her parents. We'll handle this from here. With all due respect, sir, you've handled it enough. This stopped being a private family matter the moment you sent a minor out in a storm. A different voice now, a police officer. Mr. Holt, we need to ask some questions. We haven't done anything wrong. her mother said, voice shaking. Your daughter was hit by a car at 11 p.m. in a major storm. She's 15. We need to understand why she wasn't home. Vera managed to flutter her eyes open, shapes moving. Her father's silhouette. Delaney behind him. Dr. Chen noticed. She's waking up. Everyone out. Now. She's our daughter, her father started. And I'm the doctor in this room. Out. Footsteps, voices fading. The door closed. Dr. Chen leaned closer, squeezed her hand. You're safe now, she whispered. I promise you're safe. When Vera woke up 3 days later, her parents were gone. Dr. Chen was still there. She'd kept her promise. The concussion was severe. 4 days in the hospital. Dr. Chen came every day, brought books, sat by her bed, talked about college, about science, about futures Vera had never imagined. Her parents visited once, brought a bag of clothes, some schoolwork, stood at the foot of the bed, uncomfortable. We're glad you're okay, her mother said. Her father nodded. You gave us quite a scare. Neither said sorry. Neither asked if she wanted to come home. Delaney didn't come at all. On day 5, a social worker named Ms. Okafor came, kind-eyed, gentle-voiced. Vera told her everything, Delaney's lies, her parents choosing her, the words sick daughter. You have options, Ms. Okafor said. You don't have to go back. Where else would I go? Dr. Chen knocked, stepped in. She could stay with me. Foster placement, temporary, until we figure out something permanent. If you want. She looked at Ms. Okafor. I've already started the paperwork. Why would you do that? Vera's voice cracked. You don't even know me. Dr. Chen sat on the edge of the bed. Because someone once did it for me. When I was 17, my family kicked me out. A teacher took me in, changed my life. She touched Vera's hand. You're brilliant, Vera. Don't let anyone tell you you're sick. Don't let anyone dim that light. Vera made her decision in that hospital room. She chose different. 6 months later, she was a different person. Same name, different life. Dr. Chen's house was quiet, organized, full of books and plants, and soft classical music. She gave Vera the guest room, told her she could decorate however she wanted. Vera transferred schools, started fresh. No one knew about Delaney, about her parents, about being the sick daughter. She was just Vera, smart, focused, finally free to breathe. Margaret, she insisted Vera call her that, exposed her to a world she'd never seen. University lectures, research symposiums, dinners with professors discussing policy and equity and change. Education is freedom, she'd say, ladling soup at her kitchen table on a Sunday. Knowledge is power. No one can take that from you. Vera threw herself into school. Straight A's weren't just grades anymore. They were proof. Proof she wasn't sick, wasn't broken, wasn't wrong. Margaret taught her about grant writing, about scholarships, about systems built to help kids like her, kids from difficult situations, kids who needed a second chance. You're going to do something important someday, she told Vera once, over pasta and salad, ordinary, safe. I can see it. Vera thought about her old family sometimes, wondered if Delaney ever told them the truth, if her father ever regretted those words, if her mother ever stood up for her. But mostly, she didn't think about them at all. She heard things through mutual friends. Delaney was doing fine, still the golden child, still the center of attention. Her parents had removed all her photos from the house, like she'd never existed. Good, she thought. Let them erase me. I'm building something better. By senior year, she had a plan. College, a major in education policy, building something that would help kids who fall through the cracks. College was a blur of study sessions and late nights, and slowly learning to trust again. She got a full scholarship to a prestigious university. Margaret's recommendation letter was glowing. She majored in education policy and social justice, minored in psychology. She wanted to understand systems, why some kids got help and others fell through cracks wide enough to swallow them whole. Summers, she interned at nonprofits, grant-writing organizations, youth advocacy groups. She learned how money moved, how programs started, how to turn empathy into action. She graduated summa cum laude. Margaret cried at the ceremony. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. "So incredibly proud." She got hired immediately as a research coordinator at a university education department. Margaret's university, actually. Different building, professional distance, but still connected. At 25, she had an idea. A scholarship program for students from difficult family situations. Kids who'd been kicked out, dismissed, cast aside. She called it the Open Door Scholarship. Margaret helped her write the grant proposals. They secured funding from 3 organizations, launched the program at 1 university as a pilot, then 2, then 5. By 27, they'd awarded over $200,000 in scholarships, helped 47 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. Media started paying attention. Local newspapers, education journals. Vera gave interviews, spoke at conferences, always told her story vaguely. A 15-year-old girl who was told she didn't belong, never named names. One day, her colleague Isaac Reyes knocked on her office door. "Vera, you're being considered for keynote speaker at a graduation ceremony." "Which university?" "Ashford State University." Her stomach dropped. That's my sister's school." "You have a sister?" "Not anymore," she said quietly. "But yes, she graduates this spring." "Do you want me to decline on your behalf?" Vera stared at her desk, the scholarship applications stacked in neat piles. 47 students, 47 second chances. What's the theme? Resilience and educational equity. President Callahan specifically requested you, said your work embodies everything the ceremony should represent. Would I have creative control over my speech? Complete control. They just want you there. She thought about Delaney in her cap and gown, probably bragging about her perfect family. She thought about her parents in the audience, proud, oblivious, still believing they'd made the right choice 13 years ago. And there was something else she'd learned recently, something that changed the shape of the decision. Her father, Gordon Holt, had spent the last 6 years building a second act on the city council, a reputation for family values and community, and he was up for re-election that spring. His campaign mailers, the ones already sitting in mailboxes across the district, featured a photo of him and Renee and Delaney under the words, "A family you can trust." "I need to talk to Margaret," she said. That night over dinner, she laid it out. "They have no idea I exist in this capacity. No idea I built this. What do you want to happen?" Margaret asked. "I want to close the chapter properly, not with anger, with truth. Then do it on your terms, with your head held high. Show them who you are now." She called Isaac the next morning. "Tell President Callahan I accept." She didn't see Delaney in person, but social media makes ghosts visible. Delaney's senior year was documented in filtered photos and curated captions. "So grateful for my parents who supported me every step of the way. #blessed, #family first." There were no photos of Vera, no mention of a sister anywhere in her digital universe. She'd never existed. One post. Delaney at dinner with their parents, wine glasses raised, celebrating my graduation with the 2 best people in the world. Her father looked older, gray at the temples, a councilman's practiced smile for the camera. Vera closed the app. Through old acquaintances, she heard Delaney was excited for graduation, that their parents were throwing a party after. "The keynote speaker is supposed to be really good," one friend posted in a group chat. Vera was still, accidentally, part of. "Some researcher who started a scholarship program." Delaney had replied, "Ugh, those speeches are always so boring. But whatever, it's my day." Vera screenshotted it. Not for revenge, just proof that she had no idea what was coming. Vera wrote her speech over 2 weeks, drafted, revised, cut, added, read it aloud to Margaret a dozen times. "Don't mention names," Margaret advised. "Tell the story, let people connect the dots." It opened with statistics on educational inequity, then shifted personal. "At 15, I was told I didn't belong, but someone saw potential instead of problems. Someone gave me a second chance, and that changed everything." No tears, no anger, just facts. The night before, she couldn't sleep. Margaret knocked softly, came in with tea, sat on the edge of the bed. Second thoughts? Just thoughts. You're not the girl they threw away, Vera. You're the woman who built herself back up. Remember that tomorrow. Will you be there? Front row, always. Morning came too fast. Navy suit, professional but not stuffy. Margaret's grandmother's pearl necklace, insisted upon. In the mirror, Vera looked confident, nothing like the soaked 15-year-old who'd been told she was sick. The campus was beautiful, old brick, manicured lawns, students in caps and gowns, families with cameras. She met President Callahan in his office, warm, effusive. "Ms. Holt, we're honored to have you. Your work is extraordinary." Backstage was controlled chaos. She scanned the program. Row 3. Delaney Holt, Bachelor of Arts Communications. Her heart kicked against her ribs. "You okay?" Isaac asked. "Yes, just ready." Margaret arrived in Emerald, hugged her tight. "You've got this." "I know. Remember, I know." Vera smiled. Head high, truth clear. No revenge, just honesty. The auditorium filled. Somewhere out there, her parents were sitting down, excited for Delaney's big moment, with no idea who the keynote speaker was. The program listed her name in small print. Most people don't read speaker bios carefully. They'd find out soon enough. If you've ever had to walk into a room knowing you were about to change the temperature of it completely, you know exactly what that backstage minute feels like. If this story has you invested, this is a good moment to hit that hype button. It costs nothing, and it's the easiest way to tell the app, "More like this, please." President Callahan stepped to the podium. "Welcome graduates, families, and honored guests. Today we celebrate achievement, resilience, and the boundless potential of our students." Applause. Our keynote speaker embodies these values. Please welcome the director of the Open Door Scholarship Program, Ms. Vera Holt. Polite applause. Vera stepped into the light, walked with measured steps toward the podium, and then she saw them. Row 3, Delaney, cap and gown, honor cords, clapping, turned halfway to whisper to the girl beside her. Then she looked up, saw Vera. Her hands froze mid-clap. Confusion, recognition, shock. Her mouth opened, no sound came out. Behind her, row 8, their parents, still clapping, polite audience members applauding a speaker whose name hadn't registered yet. Vera reached the podium, adjusted the mic, looked out over the crowd. "Good morning. Thank you, President Callahan, for that generous introduction." Her voice carried clear, strong. Her father's head jerked up. He leaned forward, squinting, trying to place the voice. Her mother's hand went to her chest. "It's an honor to be here today. Today, I want to talk about resilience, about what happens when you lose everything and find yourself anyway." The audience quieted. "Let me tell you about a 15-year-old girl. She was told she didn't belong, that something was fundamentally wrong with her, that she was too broken to keep." Her mother's hand gripped her father's arm. Vera could see it from the stage. One night, in the middle of a storm, she was put out, told she wasn't wanted. She wandered alone for hours. No phone, no money, no place to go. She was hit by a car, nearly died. Delaney had gone completely still, face white. But someone stopped, someone helped, someone saw potential where everyone else saw problems. Margaret's eyes were bright, proud. That person became her family, her mentor, her mother, in every way that mattered. A pause, letting the words settle. That 15-year-old girl was me. The auditorium went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Her father stood up halfway. Her mother pulled him back down. "I'm here today because Dr. Margaret Chen," she gestured, "didn't give up on me when my own family did. She taught me that rejection isn't the end. It's a beginning." Whispers spread. The Open Door Scholarship was born from that experience. It exists for students who've been told they're not enough, who've been dismissed, abandoned, cast aside. She looked directly at Delaney. Because being rejected doesn't define you. What you do afterward does. Today, that scholarship has helped 47 students like the girl I used to be. A woman in the back whispered loudly, "Is that really her family?" "I learned something important in the years after that storm," Vera continued, unshaken. "Family isn't always biology. Sometimes it's choice. Sometimes it's the people who choose you when others walk away. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need one person." Delaney's face crumpled, shoulders shaking. Her friends stopped whispering, stared at her now, connecting dots. And success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something meaningful despite them. Her father's hands trembled. He looked like he wanted to run. "So, to the graduating class of Ashford State University, your worth is not determined by who stays. It's determined by how you grow after they leave." She let it land. "You will face rejection, people who underestimate you. That's guaranteed. But you get to decide what happens next." A standing ovation, slow at first, then building. Students, faculty, families. Not everyone. Her father stayed seated, pale, hands over his face. Her mother stood mechanically, clapping weakly, tears streaming. Delaney didn't move, frozen, staring at her lap. Vera stepped back from the podium. President Callahan was beaming. "Thank you, Ms. Holt. That was powerful." Backstage, Vera watched through a gap in the curtains as names were called. The applause had a different texture now, distracted, uneven, people talking, pointing, checking phones. Delaney Holt, Bachelor of Arts Communications. Delaney walked to the stage, smile tight, hands shaking as she took the diploma. The applause was thin. Some clapped enthusiastically, her close friends probably. Others just watched, whispered. After the ceremony closed, Vera slipped out a side door, met Margaret in the reception area. "You did it," Margaret said, hugging her tight. "How do you feel?" "Free." Isaac appeared, flustered. I had no idea. Your family? Are you okay?" "I'm fine. They're asking to see you, your parents." Side entrance. Vera's stomach tightened. "Do I have to?" "Absolutely not. I can have security walk them out." "No," she straightened. "I'll talk to them. On my terms. 5 minutes." Margaret squeezed her hand. "I'll be right here." They stood by a pillar. Her father's face was gray, mother's makeup smeared, Delaney hovering behind them, eyes red. Vera stopped 3 feet away. Professional distance. "You wanted to talk?" "Vera, we didn't know you'd be here." "I'm sure you didn't." "You look," her mother's voice broke. "Well, I am well. Dr. Chen made sure of that." Margaret had followed, stood slightly behind, protective. Her father's eyes flicked to her, then away. "We owe you an apology." "You owe me a lot more than that." Vera's voice was calm, level. "But an apology is a start." "We made a mistake," her mother said. "A terrible mistake. We should have listened. You should have protected me. That's what parents do." "We were wrong," her father said, voice cracking. "I've regretted that night every day for 13 years. "Good." The word hung there, sharp. "Can we talk?" Her mother reached toward her. "Privately? As a family?" "We're not a family. You made that clear 13 years ago. But we can fix it." "There's nothing to fix. You made your choice. I made mine. We're done." "Vera." Delaney's voice. Quiet. Broken. "I'm sorry. I was 12. I was stupid. I didn't know. You were old enough to know exactly what you were doing." Isaac appeared with a folder. Scholarship applications for next semester, official letterhead, Vera's name, her title, photos of recipients, testimonials. Her father's eyes fixed on it. You really did all this?" "Yes, despite everything." Her mother took the folder, gently, opened it, read. Her face crumpled. "Director? Senior director, as of last month." President Callahan joined them, oblivious to the tension. "Ms. Holt, that was the best keynote we've had in years." He turned to her parents. "Are you Vera's family? You must be so proud." Silence. "They are," Margaret said smoothly. "Aren't you, Mr. Holt?" His jaw worked. "Yes, very proud." Callahan shook Vera's hand, walked away. Her father stared at her, really looked. "We had no idea. You never asked." Her voice stayed soft, not angry, just tired. You erased me. Why would you know? I tried to find you, her mother whispered. After the hospital, you disappeared. I changed my name legally, made it harder. I needed you to not find me. I needed space to heal. Did you? Her father asked. Yes. No thanks to you. Delaney's friends approached, 3 of them, uncomfortable. Delaney, is that true? Is she really your sister? Delaney nodded, couldn't speak. You said you were an only child. I know. You told everyone your sister died, another friend said, cold. Last year you said she died in a car accident when you were 12. Vera's eyebrows rose. You told them I was dead. Delaney flushed. It was easier than explaining. Explaining what? The first friend demanded. That your family kicked her out. That you lied about her. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? The third friend looked at Vera. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Thank you, Vera said quietly. They walked away. Delaney stood alone, watching them leave. Delaney, their mother started. Don't. Delaney's voice was sharp. She looked at Vera. I wanted to tell them so many times. I wanted to tell everyone the truth, but I was scared that everyone would hate me. She wiped her eyes. They were right, too. I deserve it. Delaney, Vera stepped closer. I don't hate you. I forgive you, for my own peace, not yours. But I don't want a relationship. I need you to respect that. Can't we just, no, firm, clear, you made choices for 13 years. Choices to keep lying, to keep me erased. That's not childhood stupidity. That's who you became. Delaney sobbed. Their mother pulled her close. Vera looked at Margaret. Can we go? Yes, let's go home. They walked away, didn't look back. That moment, watching her sister finally understand that she couldn't lie her way out of anything anymore, that was 13 years in the making. If you've ever had to set a boundary with someone who was supposed to protect you instead, you already know how heavy and how light that walk out the door can feel at the same time. The week after graduation, Vera's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Voicemails from her father. Please call back. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. Emails from her mother, long and rambling, full of apologies and excuses. We were under so much stress. Delaney was going through a phase. We didn't understand what we were doing. Vera didn't respond. Not yet. Work kept her busy. Scholarship applications poured in. The ceremony had gone viral. Not the whole thing, but her speech. Someone had recorded it, posted it. 50,000 views, then 100,000. Comments flooded in. This woman is incredible. Family isn't blood, it's who shows up. I cried. This is exactly what I needed to hear. Also, inevitably, anyone know if this is real? What university was this? Need to know what happened to the sister. Vera ignored most of it, focused on work. Then an email arrived from one of Delaney's former friends. Subject line, you deserve to know. Inside, screenshots, group chats, Delaney's friends discussing her, distancing themselves. One message stood out. I can't believe she lied about her sister being dead. That's psychotic. Another, I'm uninviting her from my wedding. I don't want drama. But there was a second attachment in that email, one the friend had almost deleted before deciding Vera needed to see it. It was an old screenshot, from years back, of Delaney bragging to that same friend, half joking, half proud, about a prank she'd pulled on her sister once. In it, Delaney described logging into Vera's still-open school email from the family desktop after Vera's own phone had been confiscated for a full week. The same week the stolen $50 fight happened, months before the storm. She'd used that access to build a fake trail, a habit she quietly kept up for over a year, slowly practicing the exact kind of digital sleight of hand she'd need later, the night of the storm. Vera sat with that for a long time. She'd always wondered, in the small, tired part of her mind, that 13 years hadn't fully cleared out, whether some sliver of what Delaney claimed that night might have had a shred of truth to it, a message she really had sent in anger, forgotten, half-remembered wrong. This ended that. There was nothing to wonder about anymore. It had all been built, brick by brick, over a year, by a 12-year-old who'd learned early that their parents would believe her over anyone. Her father's own habits made the rest of it easy to confirm. Gordon Holt was a careful man, a councilman who'd learned the hard way, a noise complaint dispute with a neighbor years earlier, to keep records of everything running through the house's network, in case anyone ever came at him with a complaint. The home router logs, backed up automatically to a cloud folder he'd forgotten even existed, placed the group chat messages squarely at the house, sent from a device that matched the family desktop, on a night Vera's own phone had been sitting, powered off, in a kitchen drawer since her punishment began. It had been sitting there the whole time. Nobody had ever thought to check. Nobody had ever needed to, because nobody had ever doubted Delaney. A local reporter named Priya Anand, who covered the county beat and had written more than one story about council spending over the years, picked up the viral clip a few days later and started asking around. Not about Vera at first, but about Councilman Holt's re-election mailer, the one with the family photo and the words, "A family you can trust." She filed a records request for any council office communications mentioning the graduation, standard practice whenever a public official's name started trending for the wrong reasons. What came back, days later, was a set of emails between Gordon Holt's chief of staff and a campaign consultant, drafted the same night as the ceremony. "We need language ready in case this follows him. Suggest, private family matter, keep it vague, do not confirm a daughter by that name exists publicly until we have a plan." Another, from the consultant, recommend pulling the mailer art before the next print run. The photo reads badly now. It wasn't a crime. It wasn't even surprising, once you'd met the man. But it was, Priya wrote in her piece, a remarkably tidy illustration of exactly the instinct his daughter says defined her childhood. Manage the story first, deal with the person later. The article ran with the headline, "Councilman's Estranged Daughter Delivers Viral Speech." Records show campaigns scrambled to respond. It didn't need Vera's cooperation. It didn't get any. She never spoke to Priya Anand, never confirmed or denied a single detail. She didn't have to. The paper trail did what paper trails do. 2 weeks later, her father showed up at her office, looking 10 years older, gray hair, deep lines, shoulders slumped. "Thank you for seeing me," he said. "I have a meeting in 20 minutes. "I understand." He sat, formal, like a job interview. "Vera, I need to say this. We were wrong. I was wrong. What I did to you, it was unforgivable." Yes, it was. Delaney told us the truth. Finally. Last week, she broke down, confessed everything. The lies, the manipulation, all of it. 13 years too late. I know it doesn't fix anything. His hands shook. He clasped them together. "But I need you to understand. We've been living with this guilt every single day. We look at that empty room, the photos we took down, and we know we destroyed something we can never get back. You're right. You can't. Can you forgive us?" Vera leaned back, considered. "Forgiveness isn't the issue, Dad. Trust is. And that's broken, shattered. You believed Delaney's lies over my truth. You called me sick. You threw me out in a storm. I know. You don't know. You don't know what it's like to be 15 and homeless in a storm, to be told by your own father that you're too broken to love. You'll never know." Tears rolled down his face. "What can I do? Tell me what I can do." "Nothing. There's nothing you can do. It's too late." 3 days later, an email arrived. Subject, "I'm sorry," from Delaney. Vera almost deleted it, finger hovering over the trash icon, but curiosity won. Vera, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your attention, but I need to say this. I was jealous, so jealous of you. You were smart and capable, and people liked you without you even trying. I had to work for every bit of attention I got, and it still wasn't enough. When Ethan liked you instead of me, I snapped. I planned the whole thing, the screenshots, the bruise, everything. I knew Mom and Dad would believe me. They always did. I didn't think it would go that far. I didn't think Dad would actually throw you out. When I saw you walking into the storm, I felt sick. But I couldn't take it back. I was too scared, too proud. I've spent 13 years lying to everyone, to myself. I told people you died because it was easier than admitting what I did. I destroyed your life, I know that. And I destroyed my own, too. I have no real friends now. I lost my job offer because someone from graduation told HR about my family situation. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking you to know. I'm sorry. Vera read it twice, saved it, didn't respond. 4 more followed, each more desperate, more broken. After the 5th, she replied, short, final. I accept that you were young, but you had 13 years to correct it. You chose to keep me erased. I forgive you for my own peace, but I don't want contact. Please respect that. Delaney stopped emailing. Vera's speech went more viral than she'd expected. A local news station reached out, wanted to interview her about the scholarship program. She agreed, but only if the focus stayed on the students, not her personal story. The segment aired, Local Researchers' Second Chances program helps students in crisis. They interviewed 3 scholarship recipients on camera. One girl, 19, said, "This program saved my life. Literally, I was about to drop out. Ms. Holt's team gave me hope. Applications tripled. Funding requests poured in. 3 more universities wanted to partner. Education journals called, asking her to write about her methodology. A national conference invited her to speak on equity and education, closing the gap. You're famous now, Isaac told her one afternoon. How does it feel? Weird. I just wanted to help some kids. You're doing more than that. You're changing systems. The State Board of Education sent a commendation for outstanding contribution to educational equity. And through it all, Vera watched the ripple effects reach the Holt house from a careful distance. Delaney's social media went quiet. No more posts. Then the accounts went private entirely. Her father sent one final email. We're proud of you, even if we have no right to be. She didn't respond. Her mother tried calling once. She didn't answer. Old family friends reached out on LinkedIn, awkward messages, heard about your work, so impressive, maybe we could catch up. She declined, politely, every time. Meanwhile, Margaret was accepted as a keynote speaker at a national conference of her own. Come with me, she said, as my guest and colleague. They flew out together, presented on a shared panel, stayed in a nice hotel, talked about everything except Vera's biological family. You've built a good life, Margaret said over dinner. You should be proud. I am, because of you. No, Margaret shook her head. Because of you. I just gave you a chance. You did the rest. 1 year after Delaney's graduation, Vera's life looked completely different. The Open Door Scholarship was now active in 10 universities. They'd helped 83 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. Vera was promoted to senior director, got a corner office, a raise, recognition from people whose names she'd only ever read in textbooks. She dated someone for a while, a kind man named Julian, who worked in public policy. It didn't work out, but it ended amicably. She was learning that not all endings had to be painful. Margaret turned 60. They threw a party. Colleagues, friends, students she'd mentored over the years, people who loved her, chose her, built family around her. Vera gave a toast to the woman who taught her that family is built, not born. Thank you for choosing me, Margaret cried, happy tears. Vera thought about her biological family sometimes. Not often, not painfully, just thoughts, wondering where they were, if Delaney had gotten help, if her father still sent unanswered emails. They sent a Christmas card that December. No return address, just signatures. Gordon, Renee, Delaney. No message, no explanation. She put it in a drawer. Didn't throw it away. Didn't respond. Just acknowledged it existed. She spoke at another graduation. Different university, different students, similar message. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors you control. Afterward, a young woman approached, 20 years old, tearful. That was my story too. My family kicked me out at 16. I thought I was alone. You're not alone, Vera told her. You're surviving. That's more than enough. The young woman hugged her tight. Thank you. Vera drove home that evening to the house she shared with Margaret, her real mother, and felt something she hadn't felt in years: complete peace. People ask Vera if she regrets that night: the storm, the pain, the hospital. She doesn't, because it led her here, to this life, this work, this family she chose. Not every story has a happy ending like hers. She knows she's lucky. Dr. Margaret Chen found her, chose her, saved her. Not everyone gets that. But everyone gets to set boundaries. Everyone gets to decide who has access to them. You don't owe toxic people your presence. Not even if they're family. Especially not if they're family. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone for your own peace while still keeping them out of your life. Those aren't contradictions. They're both necessary, sometimes at the same time. Blood doesn't make family. Choice does. Consistency does. Showing up does. Margaret showed up every single day for 13 years. She earned the title Mom. Vera's biological parents showed up once, failed, never really tried again. That tells you everything you need to know. Success isn't about proving people wrong, it's about building something meaningful despite them. The scholarship program was never revenge, it was purpose, turning pain into something that helps other people. That's the whole difference. Revenge seeks to hurt, purpose seeks to heal. Your worth isn't determined by who stays, it's determined by how you grow after they leave. Some people will always underestimate you, reject you, tell you you're too broken, too sick, too much, or not enough. That's their limitation, not yours. You get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. Vera chose to become someone who helps kids like she used to be. Kids who need a second chance. Kids who deserve to know they're worth saving. That's her legacy. Not the family that threw her away, the family she built afterward. Vera is 28 now, same age as when this story started catching up with her, but she feels older, steadier, whole. Her parents' names are still in her phone. She hasn't deleted them. She hasn't called either. They exist in her past, not her present, and definitely not her future. Delaney sends a message every few months. Short, apologetic. Thinking of you. Hope you're well. Vera reads them. Doesn't respond. Maybe someday she will, maybe not. Either way is okay. Dr. Margaret Chen is Mom now. Not Dr. Chen, just Mom. The emergency contact on every form. The person Vera calls when something good happens. The one whose opinion matters. Blood didn't make her Vera's mother. Choice did. 13 years of showing up, of believing in her, of loving her when she couldn't love herself. That's family. Every year, on the anniversary of that storm, Vera drives past her old house. Not to punish herself, not to wallow, just to remember. She parks across the street, looks at those windows, that door, and thinks, that girl survived. She survived being called sick, being thrown away, being told she was too broken to love. And she didn't just survive, she thrived. If you're in a storm right now, metaphorical or real, know this. You can survive it. You can even thrive after it. Just because someone gives up on you doesn't mean you give up on yourself. Set your boundaries, choose your family, build your purpose, and never let anyone tell you you're too sick, too broken, or too much. You're exactly enough.